So yeah, I have a standard ice machine. Client complaint is that it goes into fault. If I have a look at this machine, it's been modified. There's a timer on that side, and you can see there's a switch over here, and all the covers are missing. First things first, I'm going to take the panel off by removing these screws. So yeah, I've taken off the front cover. If we have a look here, it's pretty dirty, and if you look at the sump, it's slimy and there's a lot of scale. If we follow it to the pump, all this scale has to come off. If we see scale, there's a good chance that our sensors are going to be dirty. What I want to do is I'm going to strip all these units down and give them a good clean out with some descaler. So if I have a look at this again, as I mentioned, it's been modified. So to take off the front cover, you're going to have a clip on this side and one on this side, and pretty much all you do is just unclip it, and that exposes the, oh my, look at that, this all has to be cleaned up. So just to identify, this is your actual ice maker, this is your evaporator, and if I look at this, this is your ice sensor. As soon as the ice builds up, it makes contact to these two probes here and tells the machine to go into a defrost mode. If we follow the flow, the water is controlled by this model, or this specific model uses a float. So if I push this down, the water level is low, it replenishes the sump. From here, the pump pumps up the water up this tube to the cascade. This here is just a regulator for your water flow, which we'll get to when it comes to diagnosing. From here, the water runs down through these little holes and evenly distributes the water down the evaporator to form ice inside these blocks. So I've done a quick inspection here. Pretty much all this needs is a good clean out and service, and we are going to check the size of the cubes, make sure that it's not too thick or thin. That will adjust in the diagnostics. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the front cover so we can look into the condensing unit. So here's the back of the compressor unit. Just some component identification. Here we've got our condensing fan. On this specific model we have our condenser fans on the side. That's the one, and there's the other, this unit right here. At the bottom there, let me just zoom in, we've got our compressor, we've got our filter dryer, and this here is our hot gas valve. This is what helps the ice defrost or melt, so it can slip out the actual evaporator tray. If I look at the bottom here, I can't really see it, but if I follow this is my TXV valve, so that's the metering device right at the bottom there. The position will be different on different models. So what I'm going to start with here is I'm going to clean out the condenser, give this unit a good blowout. Very important before you start is you should block your fans with a cloth, because as I'm blowing you don't want to spin the fans. I'm going to do the same with the other fan over there. Just jam a cloth, let me try to get a better angle, jam a cloth inside, and I'm going to blow out the evaporator from inside outwards to remove and release all the dust. Same at the bottom here, I'm just going to give it a good blowout. Before I do a blowout, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cover back, but just to prevent as much dust coming into the actual cooling compartment. Otherwise it just gives me more work to do. So I'm just going to temporarily place the cover sort of halfway, just to give me access at the back so that I can blow out the actual condensing unit. Right, so I'm going to try and get the best angle as possible. Here I'm just going to be using a standard leaf blower, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow the condenser unit from inside out and then just give a good blowout on these fans. Just remember to put a cloth by your fans just so that they don't spin while I use the leaf blower. get started. Right, so that's pretty much blown out. Just remember to always use a mask and your earmuffs, because this thing is pretty loud. So I've blown out as much dust as possible from inside out, and what I can do now is I'm just going to take the leaf blower and just blow the surrounding area just to remove as much dust as possible. Now that we've got most of the dust out, from, as I said, from inside out, I'm just going to put my leaf blower and slowly scoop it to direct the air that way to just release any other remaining dust. That's good. Just remember to take off the cloths again, give it a good wipe down, and the compressor compartment is clean. There's not much to service on the side now. Now if we have a look at the compressor compartment, it's looking much better. There's not much you can service in here. As I mentioned, just remove the cloths. All I'm interested in is making sure that my fans are operating correctly. You'll just check both sides, and all I'm going to do is a visual inspection to make sure that nothing is rubbing unnecessarily, because there will be a lot of vibration, so you don't want pipes to touch. So for instance, this I can just move slightly out the way so that it doesn't cause problems with vibration. Other than that, everything else looks fine. I do a quick electrical check, make sure that all my terminals are still connected, there's nothing loose, there's no loose wiring, and that's all you can really do at the back of the ice machine in terms of a service. Next we're going to move on to the front unit.